Hello and welcome back to Pulp Kitchen. If you haven't listened to our review of Fantastic Four First Steps already, please go and do so in episode 190. But this is going to be a spoiler discussion about the film, talking in spoiler detail of all the things that happen in the film. So if you haven't seen it, go away and come back later.
Spoiler alert.
So let's talk about Fantastic Four. Where to begin? Let's kind of run through the movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, we begin with this montage, a wonderful montage that shows all the things that happen in the Fantastic Four's past. We aren't actually shown the incident itself in space.
Just like them being the astronauts to go, the scientists, and then basically a montage of them discovering themselves in the city, finding them places like this amazingly marketed, branded family. They're already in this like mega apartment penthouse in a skyscraper and really nicely established. And I said in the review, that was a montage I thought really worked.
Who's funding them? That's what I'm telling you.
It's a very good question because they have a lot of resources and money and beautiful clothing.
Yeah.
That apartment that they're in.
I guess brand deals. I guess they probably have a lot of stuff
she
gifted.
She did catch that 7-Up Atlas at one point. I was like, do you think they were like, we could tip a, we could save you 7-Up?
The city of New York is like, actually, because you stopped this much worth of property damage, you get that back.
Do you think, because they were almost like they would address the nations of the world, right? But do you think like all of the countries of the world would sort of like contribute to their resources, chip in a bit? It's a very complicated structure though.
Okay, straight away actually, we see a conference in which Sue Storm, now a politician, speaking to what is essentially the United Nations, but there is an empty seat in the state of Latveria.
A fictional country. Did we ever get back to that detail?
No.
Do you think that's where John Malkovich was from and it got cut?
Oh, it could have been. Yeah, it could have been. But someone said to me, they intimated that that's got something to do with Doctor Doom. I don't know that. And I can only talk about this as a film watcher, which I think is only fair. Not everyone needs to come with comic knowledge here. Yeah. So, yeah, they didn't... In my mind, that's a plot hole.
It was like scanning, country, blah, 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 Bulgaria, Latvia, empty seat.
Latveria.
Excuse me.
Latvia is a country.
Latvia is a country. Latveria, empty seat, and we just never got back to it. And I guess that's
maybe they're going to come back to that. And also, do you remember that bit where the guy asked Sue for information and she turned invisible in the
yeah.
And actually, that's actually what I did.
Actually, now just thinking about bits
Sarah Niles is in this as like I guess their sort of press secretary. Well, she does a lot of work with Sue in the political sphere, and I really felt that the shots they cut to her indicated that her character was more important than we were actually shown. You know, like when the space shuttle's about to knowing looks, and she's there, and I'm thinking you're telling me that you're quite important, but you're not actually in this movie enough.
Maybe that's where things have been ever so slightly cut.
Yes,
it's like it wasn't so bad that you're going to walk out the cinema thinking about those moments, but on a second watch, I think you'd go, hey, one of those.
There we go.
That's me. Where are you?
I mean, like
going straight. I think go straight into like basically Act 2, right? So following the damning message.
Well, no. Hey, you've forgotten the Underminer.
Oh yeah.
So Paul Hauser turns up as mole man of Subterranea, an underground society,
very, like, brown thing, and it was the Underminer from The Incredibles.
I was like, you're already kind of paralleling The Incredibles, or The Incredibles is paralleling Fantastic Four with the kind of 60s setting, and then you have basically the Underminer,
which really, you know what, came into play in the third act when they all needed to go underground.
I love the fact that obviously because he lives underground, he has to wear sunglasses all the time when he's up because it's too bright. And that's
he was funny though.
He
made
funny.
Some really funny jokes, and like he was quite funny when people came down to the thing and he was like, "Please wipe your shoes." No, I'm just kidding. It's dirty down here.
Yeah, it's all dirt. He's a great one of those like underrated actors. I love Paul Hauser. Really that's those escapades done. We get the kind of Ted Gilbert, Ed Sullivan type show. Yeah. And then, the Silver Surfer comes down and
speaks in a wishy-washy language, Johnny Storm connection.
Sorry. Another period detail that I love was the helicopters with like the bulbous windscreen. You know those 1960s helicopters you get, which had curved.
Not that familiar with 1960s helicopters, but I think
you know what I mean, where they had curved screens.
So.
They look like dragonflies.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah, like more bulbous.
Yeah. I thought that was cool.
Like a bottlenose dolphin. Like the dinosaur in Jurassic World Rebirth.
Sorry to interrupt, but anyway, so she turns up.
Whispers a bunch of mumbo jumbo to Human Torch, and he has this little moment with her in space. He's then obviously like deciphering that, which comes into play later. And they set out on this mission to go and find Galactus. And I thought, despite it being, very big space, CG, nuts and bolts, lava planet consumption. I like the idea of stumbling upon a planet, seeing him consume it.
Yeah.
We saw it in the IMAX, and I thought all the stuff when Galactus was staring down at the Fantastic Four, and I was in my seat quivering with them. All of that really worked for me. And like, it's not like proper IMAX, but it's shot on large format. If you can get an IMAX seat for all of that, I really would jump on it.
I was quite surprised that they turned up and they turned up just in time to see him eat a planet.
Yeah, it's convenient.
No waiting around. Like, they turned up and Galactus was like, "Thank goodness you turned
just
up."
Caught me at a perfect time.
Bib napkin in.
Let me showcase my terrible power.
And yes, the scene
And
when
also-
when they get off on when they first meet Galactus, when the Silver Surfer or Shalobal walks them to the to Galactus, it felt like Alien. The mist on the ground.
And I actually quite like the environmental storytelling of like him consuming planets serves a function to feed him. And you remember he had all of those like suction things that it's sort of, for some reason he needs all of it. He wants to be liberated from this curse of needing to consume, hence where Doom's going to come in.
And actually on Galactus as a character, because really he's really only in 2 moments.
And fairly one-dimensional as a threat.
Yes, he's just an all-powerful threat that we meet at that central moment during the film. Yeah. And then he returns at the end to get the baby. Yeah. I want to have the baby.
In a much sort of smaller Galactus form.
You think?
Well, he's like barely city-sized, isn't he? Usually Galactus is like he can hold the world in his palm.
Yeah,
I've seen pictures.
Yeah, maybe he's a teenage Galactus. He hasn't quite full formed. And so he's only really used in those 2 moments. And yes, he is a bit one-dimensional, but I still enjoyed his presence there. But he was referencing that he was once a man and stuff. And I'm thinking, is that going to be something we're going to encounter? Are we going to encounter a human form Ralph Ineson in Doomsday?
Well, the things is like I am burdened with feeding on the energy of planets, and this person Doom is the potential to absorb my power, which is like Doom's thing. Like he can absorb people's powers.
Is that how it works?
I think so. I think he absorbs power. He absorbs electricity and puts it out. He absorbs fire. That's why the Fantastic Four struggle so much, because he can like absorb the fire.
Right.
So like Doom could maybe absorb the burden of killing all the worlds from Galactus, and then that's his Avengers thing because he wants to go on.
But I
sorry.
No,
and then we sort of immediately Galactus is fixated on Sue Storm and the baby within her, and says that baby. I would happily trade the baby for Earth.
In a bit that, in a quite a crude comparison, reminded me of Fat Bastard in Austin Powers who wants mini-me. Just like, I want baby! I want my baby back ribs. I want my baby back back. Yeah, you can leave your planet.
Also,
I just want the baby.
What were the realities of Galactus caring for this child until it turned 30? Robert Downey Jr.'s age.
I thought he was going to eat it.
You're going to eat the baby?
He's going to eat the baby, yes. Straight pop it in.
Suck it like a fruit shoot.
Yeah. Which no one wanted to see.
Capri Sun.
I really enjoyed the space chase immediately after
it was the black hole. So much of the wormhole black hole drama mass threat CG work had been done by Interstellar, so that this film could run 100%. Wormholes are really useful plot devices as well.
And I also love the idea of like trying to shoot a laser and it gets curved on the wormhole.
By space-time. Yeah, that's really fun.
And also that really felt like a well choreographed sequence where you've got like, okay, Ben's trying to fly the ship. Johnny's trying to shoot the thing.
Yeah,
Stu's going into labour. Reed's trying to work out what to do.
When a lovely sense of threat of like, no, fuck you, you're not giving you the baby. We're getting out of here.
Yeah.
He induces Sue Storm's labour. She's then, obviously going through that. Reed's trying to take care of her. The thing's right. I'm like, we need to get onto the ship. The Silver Surfer's causing issues. Trying to shoot.
Love the shots of her surfing on the lava.
Yeah, always cool. And she did a bit of water surfing on planet Earth as well. All of that. I mean, she's a surfer. Yeah. You gotta get a surfer.
Holiday.
Yeah. In the shot through the lava, all great. Yeah, she thinks she's a little bit camera just.
Yeah,
doing a bit of that. And then this wonderful thing where like they're gonna use the black hole's energy to suck in the Silver Surfer. Meanwhile, the gravity's like she needs gravity to give birth. They're towing the line. Metal panels are flying off the ship into it. There'd be serious time dilation issues with going that close to a black hole, as we know if we've seen.
Oh yes, so they should have come back and it would have been like the 1990s or something.
Kip Thorne is, screaming into a pillow watching
until this. That's the point where Christopher Nolan walks out of this film. Until then, he's like, well, I quite like the Kubrickian sort of element to it.
I taught you the rules. But you know what I mean? Like the design of the wormhole was like the Interstellar one, and obviously like they
also
used the
isn't
black
it now
hole.
that like it wasn't just that in the time since Interstellar weren't they actually able to get a telescopic photo of a black hole?
Oh yeah, we have that, and the
now,
render is very very.
So now
correct,
it's kind of like this is so stupid. Isn't it now like copyright free to be like, well, this is legitimately what it looks like?
So from what I understand, to render, they didn't actually properly show the black hole in this. To render a black hole as per Christopher Nolan did in Interstellar, to get the actual what's it called? It's the light distortion and the way you're seeing the back of the black hole and the front at the same time. That requires a lot of really complicated maths and equations from Kip Thorne to do it properly, and to render it is quite complicated. And what was amazing is that when they did photograph the black hole, that render proved to be like pretty bang on for how they photographed it, which is very cool. They do a bit of that like gravitational lensing, but we didn't really see a black hole because I think it's a very hard thing to shoot. Yeah. But that whole sequence was great, just about escaping in the nick of time. Coming back to Earth.
Oh, by the way, when they got back to Earth, I for a second was like, it's not their Earth.
Yeah,
they're going to pull like a Twilight Zone thing on us.
That could have happened. That definitely could have happened. I said this to you, like, when the Silver Surfer was reaching through Sue Storm's belly, I thought she was going to, like, it's so dark, it would never happen, rip out Doom Baby out of her tummy or, like, interfere somehow.
I said to James, I was like, what movie did you think we were watching? Okay. We're going to review Bring Her Back next week, by the way. And I think that was on your mind more.
I've been suitably broken in for gore.
And then they come back and they land, and that's when the film maybe hits its most plateauy.
Yeah,
and it's sort of, and it's like
rightfully so after that big action scene, you got to rest, and it's like, what did you defeat Galactus? And they're like, we didn't. Yeah, they sort of don't have a prepared statement. They're like, we had a choice to either save the baby.
It's such a it comes like, oh, we don't have a prepared statement. But we're going to tell you anyway.
Are we in danger? And he's like, I don't know. That's my Pedro. It's soft. It's saying there. And then there's this huge conflict where all the people of the world through New York are saying, just trade in the baby, keep us safe. And then Sue Storm comes down with the baby, great optics there, and show them
a great moment.
Humanity.
And a great blue jacket as well, standing in front of the wonderful, I was actually looking at the statue behind her.
It was beautiful of the four of them bursting out in the metalwork.
So it's basically the thing holding an atlas-like structure from which you have the
reed stretched across its
and it
torch.
looks like brilliant.
Yeah.
I want a photo book of this.
And
that's the first time I've said that for a Marvel. It's the best looking Marvel movie.
You know these Star Wars prequel production design books with all the props?
Yeah.
I want one for the Fantastic
One of the DK ones.
When you're a new kid.
Yeah,
like the encyclopedia of Star Wars. I think there'd be a great one here.
Oh, Reed's utility belt.
Yeah, or like if they do, in like Disney World in Orlando, I want to go to Fantastic Four, Fantastivision World separately. Then what happens next? Silver Surfer comes back, Galactus turns up.
No, they build the bridges.
Oh, yeah, they have this idea.
Okay, so then so I got a bit lost because he was like, we need to do something to do with Archimedes. And so I was like, okay, I'll catch up on that later when you mention it again. And then Johnny learns a language in 2 weeks.
Yes,
an
based
alien
on
language.
one sentence.
Yeah. And then Reed's like, oh, we're going to just move the Earth to a different part of space.
He's developed this idea. He's able to move an egg 3 meters.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, if it's just an issue of scale, what we can do is we can go this all over the world. We can move planet Earth.
That was the line that I laughed at when he was like, no, it was when he was like, the difference between an egg and the Earth is just scale. I'm like, no, it's huge amounts more.
That's just 7 grams of protein.
Yeah.
The Earth is a lot. Like,
there's so many different masses of materials.
And he was like, there's going to be a 2% variability within the Goldilocks zone. And I'm like, 2% is a lot.
Yeah.
I think 2% on a cosmic scale, 2% is a lot.
I don't think you can survive out of like that's like if it's, for example, 2% hot. Yeah. Anyway.
It's like they have this idea, like she references the idea, like I would move heaven and earth for my child. And he's like, oh my God. I'll move the Earth. Yeah. I'll use this technology with an amazing international cooperation. You need a bit of plutonium.
But maybe because it's an existential threat, maybe everyone gets their arse in line.
I loved the fantasy of all the countries working together. I thought it was really sweet. It made me smile. Maybe long.
Well, actually, when the first red light came up, when they tried to do the power switch and it was in Russia, I thought, oh, what have they done? What have they done?
Here
now?
We go. Yeah.
I will actually say that the idea of moving it when they're like, and it's a place Galactus will never find us, and I was like, why?
Yeah.
They never explained that. I'm like, Galactus is a massive threat who's all powerful.
Yeah.
Why won't he find you there?
Yeah.
All it's telling me is you've bought him you've just bought time.
Well, they could move again in however long that takes.
Oh, because they say he won't find us there for millions of years.
Yeah.
So they knew the speed that he was moving. What's stopping the Silver Surfer?
Doesn't deal with the issue.
Why can't the Silver Surfer find them and go, oh, they're here actually.
Yeah.
They moved, but actually they're here.
Yeah.
Galactus.
So the plan is originally
rerouting.
Let's use all of these, like kind of like they do telescope pairing, like for the black hole image, right? They sort of like all mixed together, and then next to all the wonders of the world and New York and here and the pyramids, they all built this structure,
which is about to work, wasn't it?
Which is about to work. This is what I'm a bit like. We were going to do that, but now it's not going to work. And then Silver Surfer comes in just at the nick of time as they're about to move planet Earth, which everyone was very cool with. Like people would have debated that.
I guess
for a
it was
long
like
time.
you can either move the Earth or the Earth gets reduced to nothing. But in a way, the way after the film ends, you're like, best outcome actually. The Earth didn't have to move, and Galactus is gone.
I just in this world that wouldn't have been able to happen with social media. You know, you're like they're going to move the Earth. They're lying to us. Hillary Clinton's going to choose a location. Right? You know, it's really they're going to move
this sort of international corporations never had it before.
Sort of technology that's being used here.
So she destroys all that, and then we also learn from her because when she's doing that, Johnny pops out, plays the audio that he's been learning in the language, and we discover that the Silver Surfer was. I mean, well, she's not called the Silver Surfer in this at all. I'm calling it that because it's from the comics.
She's
Shalal, but she was from a different planet, and she made a deal with Galactus to cover herself in metal and like save her planet to go and find other planets for him to harvest. And she gets in a rage, and she feels confronted by this, morally compromised. She also had a child, and there's a great shot where she, in a rage, goes right up into the atmosphere and is silhouetted by the moon.
Yes,
and she sort of stands there breathing. I liked that very much.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, rethink.
We have one working one left
in New York,
convenient,
just down the road. Let's get Galactus to come to us in this wonderfully. Also, not only did he design a baby carrier that was radiation proof, waterproof, all that stuff, but also on brand.
Yeah. Oh, beautifully.
He had time to brand it.
Yeah. Johnny I from Apple was like, when you design a baby cask.
It wasn't just like a prototype. It was like, no, it's on brand with blue. And they designed this thing. So here's the thing.
It could have looked like the A-bomb from Oppenheimer with all the wires sticking out. It's like, no, it will be perfect.
My thing with this plan is that's okay. They say, right, we're gonna trap Galactus. He has to come to this thing. We're gonna get everyone out the streets, go down to Subterranea.
Yeah.
And
comes in.
They lure him down. He gets into the water. He looks at the Statue of Liberty and goes like, huh? Strides across the city, and he's getting towards this thing where they've put the baby in the middle. And my thing is, Galactus is not a stupid being. And for me, it looked
just
quite
snapped it off.
Well, no, it just quite obviously looked at the triangulated area in which the baby was in the middle, and I was like, that looks like a trap.
Yeah,
they've got clear lines around it, and you've also got Reed there at a bunch of controls, waiting to pull something. And no wonder
he can scan through things.
Yeah, well, they shot him in the eye. They thought it would help.
Oh, they true.
But
because they did a bait and switch, didn't they?
And then I thought Galactus would pretty easily be. I mean, if I was Galactus, actually, I don't need to be Galactus. I looked at that outmark, the outline, and I thought that looks like a trap.
Yeah.
And sure enough, Galactus was like, well, it looks like a fucking trap.
And you could have gone controls, smash.
Yeah.
One of the things, snap that in half, done. All your plans are done.
But
the plan was, if we can't move Earth, we will move Galactus. We need to get him there for 30-something seconds and knock him in. And I thought a very good fight sequence, actually, between Fantastic Four and Galactus. Having, he was using the building at one point, and, and then Thing takes out the building, which allows him to fall back. All of that,
throws a petrol truck, and then Johnny lights it on fire to just catch
all
him.
of that good. And then Sue Storm really coming into her own. It's kind of the most powerful of the four, and she's
because she's a mother,
and the power of love,
power of the maternal instincts.
Yeah, she was like not gonna fucking let him. And I'll be honest, at that moment, I thought she died.
Yeah,
they really held it for a while, and if she had died, I would have thought this was a much better movie. I'd have thought it was way braver, darker. I got really choked up. Pedro Pascal was heartbroken.
Yeah.
Reed Richards was heartbroken. Johnny Storm was just tears running through his eyes. And I was like, oh my God, you've introduced this family and you've ripped it away. And then when she did come back to life, or Victor Von Doom, we'll get onto it. Yeah.
The baby.
Doom baby.
Well, we think the baby could be Doom.
We'll get onto it. Doom baby sort of, jacks her back to life.
Yeah.
And I was like, of course, because they need to establish that this baby has this universal power but I just actually thought, God, if you had done that, it would have been a really brave move. Sad for you introduce this family, but it's broken and there's loss and there's consequences. And it's the classic cliche of nobody ever fucking dies in superhero films. It really, really bugs me. And I don't mind if you don't kill people. Don't kill them. You get to use that moment of shocking me with death.
And then you get to refund your moment.
And then you undo it and refund it and have them all sing Kumbaya at the end.
I agree with you. I also thought, we're going to have a great moment here. And I actually think there's a 3-minute period where Sue's doing that, and you're like, Christ, she might die. And then there's a moment where then Johnny says, tell my nephew I love him. And I thought, great.
Here we are.
We're going to kill him as well. And I really felt there was stakes. And there was a moment, I think it's when Galactus throws her car into the side of a building. I thought, they're going to lose. Oh, this is how they're going to tee up Doomsday.
Yeah.
They're going to make this the first movie where they lose.
Which is so much more interesting to me.
Yes,
I know. Much more interesting to me. And also, sorry, Vanessa Kirby's character, Vanessa Kirby was giving I might die energy.
Yeah.
She was very stoic and someone when a character they die, yes, of course you will. You were kind of teeing up your death.
Is it a little bit of a trope though? a bit of a data trope to be like the woman sacrifices herself for
There is that.
and all the male characters get to live and they just have to be sad.
There definitely is that, but sure, and we could have had that conversation if she had died. But in a world where I keep seeing this thing happening, it is such a cliche at this point. They do it all the time. Yeah. People come back to life.
May I also add, it happened at the end of Guardians 3 with Quill's in space and Will Poulter saves him.
I will say,
in No Way Home,
Aunt May dies. Which is good.
To be expected. 3 films in, and then Tobey Maguire gets stabbed.
He should have died,
and he's like, "No, he's fine." I was like,
I really believed that, like, if Tobey Maguire had died, it would, and he left him with that one last message of like, "You shouldn't kill. I know what it means to kill." He should have died.
I think Sony didn't have the balls because they thought we might bring him back again.
It would have been
it's
so
a hugely
good.
costly.
Kill my childhood.
Decision.
It's perfect.
Yeah,
like because you got Andrew Garfield. You got Andrew Garfield.
I know.
Sorry.
But but there is that.
She does survive.
She does survive.
The baby has this great power of bringing her back.
And she has sort of the space eyes. And you're aware that this baby, as Galactus says, is imbued with the power cosmic. That's the phrase he uses. And you're like, wow.
Because Reed Richard, they have asked a question, if we make a baby, I wonder what the baby will be like. What powers will it have?
And you're right with your idea that we're speculating that it could be that this baby grows up to be Doctor Doom.
Yes, I was thinking, oh God, because in a world where the age is totally off, if the Fantastic Four were going to jump into mainline MCU, but if they lose the baby, time and space is a thing. Could that be Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom?
Yeah.
But also, I was like, that's also really weird if they're then fighting their son. I had all that going through my mind, and then I was like, no, maybe Doom is related in some way to this. Doom's going to take the power of this baby.
Yes.
We'll get onto the post-credit scenes, but like someone with a Doom mask is interacting with the baby. I don't know. I was sort of thinking early on in the film, as soon as we knew the baby was special, I was like, "Fuck, the baby is Doom."
Yeah, I thought
and we're gonna like time jump, and then there's a nice personal element for Doomsday when Reed Richards is like, "That's my son." And maybe Reed Richards in the third act of Secret Wars has to talk his son down away from Doom.
That's a lot to fit in one movie.
It's a lot of fun.
Also, I think if it is Doom and we were expecting Robert Downey Jr. to turn up, think about it. You would rather have your first sighting of Doom to be in Avengers Doomsday. Don't you agree?
Yeah, you see him as a baby.
You don't want to have. But even if Robert Downey Jr. walked on in this, you wouldn't. Exciting as it is, it's like I think we all would have really wanted to wait for the anticipation of that moment.
Now I've seen this film, yes, it would have been wrong to have had Robert Downey Jr. in it. In another world, I don't think Robert Downey Jr. should have been the main villain, but I think there is a world where you could have had him do something cool here. I don't think in this film it works. I think in another script.
Before I forget as well, this is a non sequitur, but there is a moment early on in the film when the Silver Surfer first arrives and there are 2 men working in an office and they look out the window and they go, "Oh my God." And those 2 men are writing comic books, and you can tell because there are pictures on the wall of sketches and drawings, and I think that is meant to be a sort of playful inference that is a Jack Kirby, Stan Lee type duo.
Like a cameo, I guess.
Yeah, working away. If not meant to be them, it's meant to be people like them. I just thought that was a little moment that got
nice.
there.
That's nice.
Again, looks brilliant.
And then we sort of tee towards the end of the film. This sort of, would you want to be the Fantastic Five? No, we'll be the Fantastic Four. And then we've got the baby. I know we just sort of talked about it, like who is the baby. I wonder how the baby will play into what happens next with the Fantastic Four.
Okay, so
I don't love the idea. We sort of we cut 4 years later and he's a boy. I don't love the idea of the boy being this all-powerful MacGuffin.
I think we don't like children getting in the way of drama. I think I said this with was it 28 years later when I was like, when there's a baby suddenly around, I'm like, oh, I love kids, but they're a bit of a nuisance to the drama. They frustrate the drama.
Not just,
So, the film ends.
George and I have no kids.
The film ends, we cut forward to 4 years later, and Sue Storm is reading this kid a bedtime story. Also, we didn't mention the robot, who's great, by the way.
Oh,
Herbie.
Great robot.
Great analog.
Personality. But very powerful, very
like
useful.
Wall-E.
Yeah, very Wall-E-ish. Yes.
Anyway, she comes in and she's about to get him a book, and he's clearly super smart because she's read him The Origin of Species. And she comes in and someone's there and she looks around and it's a hooded figure with a mask off, obviously like Dr. Doom. And who's looking and engaging with the child, and it cuts to black. And then it says the Fantastic Four will return in Avengers Doomsday, which is typically the kind of post-credit scene and the post-credit script that is saved for the very, very final end credits. But they clearly wanted to front-load it to be like, please come back because it is 18 months away, and the only film you're getting between now and then is technically a Sony movie.
Sell that movie.
Sell it.
They're saying how much have we spent on the movie so far? Right, you need you fucking plug this shit in Fantastic Four. We're not releasing any films until then.
Yeah.
Whoa. Wait, we're not getting. This is the last MCU film until
technically Spider-Man next year, which is technically a Sony movie.
Yes.
So yes,
because that's now before.
So Spider-Man is coming. Spider-Man 4 is coming out in July next year. Yeah, like around about the time near the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Tom Holland's no
Holland's
summer.
Fine.
No
Don't
summer
worry
next
about
year.
Tom Holland.
But really, the true MCU films, we're not having another one for another 18 months. You know what? That's fine.
I love it.
It's fine. Sometimes you don't get what you want, you get what you need.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Since the dawn of this show, we've been talking about they just need to take a break. And think about how you and me were going to be so excited to see Doomsday when it comes out. We're going to be absolutely thrilled. A Christmas treat.
It's a busy year.
Yeah.
So just talking about how ideas for where this thing goes. So I, as an audience member coming out of that with no comic knowledge of the comics, I'd love for Galactus as a person, as a presence, as a figure to come back into it in some way.
I think so too.
Either in his original humanoid form, because really Galactus doesn't die. He just gets transported to another part of the universe. The Silver Surfer punches him through a hole, and they both get taken. And I think that's not the last we'll see of them.
He can call back.
Oh, I think we'll see more of them, and I'd love to see more of them.
Yeah.
So I think there's an element there.
I could see Doom using Galactus as like a tool weapon. Like some sort of if you don't, but I've got Galactus.
Galactus has the power to absorb the energy. Yeah, maybe he can have the power to absorb Galactus.
Yeah.
I do like the idea that obviously the Thunderbolts ended with the post-credits scene that showed the Fantastic Four bursting through into their dimension,
which I thought spoiled Fantastic Four the movie. I thought that's going to be the end, but it doesn't. We will probably be treated to one of the first scenes of Doomsday. Or one of them will be the Fantastic Four crashing down, because I think we know that Reed Richards is,
as I said,
the
on
lead
Double
characters.
Take. I think it's going to be crashes, walk over. Oh my God, it's Reed Richards. Roll him over. It's Johan Griffith.
Yeah.
From the original Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And
But they had their ship though. They had their. Whatever.
I don't know. Whatever. It's 18 months away. I will forget that I said this in 3 minutes' time. Okay.
Yeah. I had a really fun conversation with someone at the Harry Potter studio tour, and it was this woman was in Gringotts Bank, and we were talking about the scene when the dragon comes into Gringotts Bank, and she immediately was like, "Well, it wasn't a dragon; it was a wyvern." I said, "Yes, that's correct, because a wyvern's wings is part of its claw." And I ended up having a 15-minute conversation with this person about the difference between dragons and wyverns.
Yeah.
And how, speaking of changing stuff, in the opening scene of the first Hobbit film, you see Smaug's legs, and originally the wings were attached to the front two legs, which would technically not make it a dragon, it would make it a wyvern, but Smaug is meant to be a dragon. And in the DVD release, they changed the CG of Smaug to make sure it was a dragon, but in the old theatrical one, it's a wyvern.
So this is a concept that was only introduced to me when we went to the How to Train Your Dragon screening.
Yes,
right? Someone mentioned it, and I had no idea.
Right,
I never come across this distinction.
Fantasy video games.
And so, if I may, a dragon, as we know it, with 4 legs and wings, is like the dragon in Shrek.
Yes.
But the dragons that we see in House of the Dragon are actually wyverns.
If their wings are attached to their front claws, then yes, they're wyverns.
Which I think they are in House of the Dragon.
I think they might be. Yeah, it's a wyvern.
Sometimes I run around the flat like a dragon to scare Anna.
Yeah, too right. The
dragon. Or a pterodactyl, but I'll soar into a room and go...
George, it's a pleasure. And the Hungarian Horntail in the 4th Harry Potter movie, not a dragon, a wyvern, but
But isn't a wyvern like a subclass of dragon?
Yeah, sure.
So we can call them dragons still?
Well,
House of Wyvern doesn't have the same ring to it.
No, okay. House of Wyvern. And we're House of Wyvern.
Wyvern sounds like a place in Somerset. It's like...
it doesn't go to a cottage in Wyvern.
Yeah, I love Wyvern.
Lovely.
Wyvern is lovely this time of year.
So hot that time of
year.
The
River Wyvern, yes. It's a hallowed cottage on the
Lake Wyvern. Yeah. I'm going to have a wyvern pie.
Wyvern sounds like it should be on a block of cheddar, doesn't it? Oh, why is that wyvern cheddar?
We have 2 wyvern puddings.
Oh, yeah. You've got to try the wyvern cider.
Oh, yeah, sticky toffee wyvern. Okay, I think that... Sorry, just quickly, the Doom-like figure in that post-credit scene, do you think that is Dr. Doom? Or, when they announced Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, he had like 20 Doom cronies with him. Do you think it's one of like Doom's...
Glooms.
Agents? And he's like... Because, I don't know, I just don't... If it was Robert Downey, I can't afford him, but like, they would have shown him.
No, I think...
It was basically you saw the back of his hood.
I think there's going to be the one and only Doom. I think
it's just one.
I don't think they're doing a Kang with Doom.
I would
There's
hope
lots of
so.
them.
I would hope so.
You want them to
sorry,
do-
I would hope not. Sorry, I would hope they don't do
I
that.
think they do one Doom, and I think that is meant to be the Doom. And I'm not surprised. I don't think if that person was played by Robert Downey Jr. I think they got Matt Shackman probably just jumped in front of the camera.
I was saying,
put a bin bag on.
Coffee Driver 11. Do you
Yeah.
want to be in a movie? You're not going to be in shot. We'll give you an extra 300 quid.
And they did that, and I, that's the thing. And maybe he's reconnecting with his younger self, which is a nice idea with the child.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
That's why if he is himself, but then
that makes sense.
But then if that child is Doom, then that means the Doom is not a Tony Stark variant, because surely the variant needs to be still the son of Howard Stark.
Oh, but I would say like Howard Stark's specific. Oh yeah, there's a likeness issue there. Yes,
but also like DNA, right? That you still
DNA.
have to, like Loki still had to be the son of the adopted son of Odin.
I have a theory that like Tony Stark became Iron Man because of the very specific lessons and things that Howard Stark, who was also a genius, taught him. Do you remember like in Iron Man 2 he gets really bogged down with like watching the old videos of his father, and that like really shapes his identity and his ideology.
Reed Richards is going to be a Howard Stark figure?
Reed Richards, equally smart, could give the incredible brain storage. They're not like that different. In a world where I thought the baby was going to be kidnapped and corrupted and raised by something wrong, that version of who Tony Stark is, a corrupted version, turns into Victor Von Doom. Don't get me wrong, like the fact that it's the same likeness is pretty strange that they're doing it.
It's a very blonde child as well.
And it was a very blonde child too, and which Iron Man wasn't. He was black-haired, brunette, dark brunette.
Famously.
And so... yeah, I mean, look, we're just like clutching at straws here. Yeah, maybe it's a future Doom coming back to go see himself for the memes. Maybe absorbing something. He needs something very particular.
I think, so this is very cynical.
Really
Worst case scenario is they never reference that scene again.
I wouldn't be surprised if they never talk about it ever again.
Yeah.
Which goes on to my main like plot point, because they had a second post-credit scene, which I found really disappointing, mainly because you made me sit through 5 minutes of credits to watch. And it was very beautiful. It was like an homage to the old school cartoons of the Fantastic Four, beautifully drawn, beautifully rendered, blah, blah, blah. But it's just a real blue balls moment. And I just started thinking, like, are any post-credit scenes good?
Are any Marvel post-credit scenes good? What's the
I don't
best
remember
one?
most of them. I forget them immediately. And I always have this feeling of being incredibly disappointed. And just thought like, oh, why did I wait? What was the point of that? And you and me, every time I think we watch them, we go, oh, what's that?
Well, hang on. What about the first time you saw Thanos?
I was going to say that's one of the only good ones. I think the one where Thanos is floating on the throne, and one where he takes the gauntlet and goes, fine, I'll do it myself. Those were cool.
No. Yeah.
Those are two different ones.
You mean when Thanos turns to the camera and does this?
There's the smile.
Yeah, the smile.
There's the one where...
I think
that's in Guardians,
Yeah, it's
isn't
just
it?
in
Sorry,
Guardians,
there's one where he finds the Infinity
Yeah,
Gauntlet
you got
and
that.
he goes, fine,
I'll do it myself.
myself.
What about when you saw the Fantastic Four ship coming in? Then I'll get excited.
Yeah, it was all right. It was all right.
What about...
I don't like the comedic ones.
No.
The Howard the
They
Duck.
blue-balled you. Howard the Duck was quite funny because I thought...
I want tease. I want sell the bigger story. I've seen your movie. I've seen your standalone. Tell me the big thing. Like it should be like the cliffhanger of a TV show.
And you're talking, by the way, you're not talking mid-credit. You're talking about post.
Either.
What about the one in Infinity War where Nick Fury turns to dust and he pages?
That's fine. That really felt
Captain
like part
Marvel.
of the film. That just felt like an extension of the film. That's cool.
What about any Phase 6 movie or Phase 5 movie in which a cameo from a
What, you mean
celebrity...
Charlize Theron came through a wormhole?
Charlize Theron,
and then
Harry Styles,
third eye.
and what do you call it?
It's a graveyard of abandoned storylines.
Brett Goldstein as Hercules.
Yeah, oh my God, it's just you just watch it and you go, what?
This is the pruning that needs to happen. Basically,
Sirens on our end.
Somewhere in Marvel now, Kevin Feige is in what looks like the TVA, and they go, you have all these branches and they need to be pruned.
Needs to be like, yeah.
And he's going
it's
like,
Loki with the tree
Yeah,
of
that's
Yggdrasil
it.
going, how do we tie all these together?
Ties together. And Kevin's like, oh, you're right, we need to do a mass pruning and protect the sacred timeline.
Folding in Harry Styles from that scene. I've no problem with Harry Styles on paper, like, being in a movie.
No.
It's more that he's probably quite a big, expensive, busy person to get. He's one of the biggest pop stars in the world. He's quite like that's quite a big undertaking to be like, all right, call up Harry, see if he wants to do it. Like, and like the Eternals are still knocking around, aren't they?
Who? No, I think we've all agreed that didn't happen.
He's just going to wipe it away.
I just don't think they're going to return. It's also it's complicated with the Eternals because they're so powerful and they've been around for so long. Unless they're going to do what they did in Rise of Skywalker, I hope not, because that's obviously not a good example of Technicolor, where it opens and you have like a Bacta tank full of like the dead Eternals floating, and Doctor Doom's I dispensed with them already, and you're like, oh well, there you go.
I created the Eternals.
I created the Eternals.
I think we're
done
through with.
But guys,
I enjoyed that spoiler.
I enjoyed that because like even though we picked it apart a little bit, we really did enjoy the movie. We hope you did too. Send us your thoughts to hello@pulpkitchenpodcast.com.
Keep them spoiler free though, because
and check in next week's episode 191. We'll be reviewing the horror movie Bring Her Back, but obviously we'll be reading out your emails on the Fantastic Four First Steps.
And if you've only just checked out the Spoilercast, check out our actual review if you haven't already. And this is just a lovely reminder to everyone that Pulp Kitchen 200 is happening. So tickets are going to be, if you're listening to this on the week that we put it out, next week on Wednesday, the 30th of July, tickets are on sale for everybody. But if you subscribe to us on Patreon, which I know a few of you do, first of all, thank you for your support. You get access to tickets 2 days early on Monday, the 28th of July. You can check out our social media for more info. It should all be linked in our bio by now. We are so excited. If you've only just listened to this randomly and you enjoy what we do, we're doing a live show in London on October the 8th. It's going to be a celebration of 200 episodes. It's going to be us live on stage, podcasting.
You get the opportunity to ask us questions in person.
We want to bring in the
engage
crowd.
with the audience.
We want to get some people playing our games. You know, at the end of our quizzes, when we got people on stage to play the games, it was manic, crazy fever. I want to do that again for Pulp Kitchen 200. So go and check that out on our social media. We hope to see as many of you there as possible. See you next week.
Thank you as ever. Excuse me. Thank you as ever to our producers, Finn and Dave.
Excuse me, I'm speaking to our producers now.
Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye.